gentlemen, hello, Chocolo here, but not for video review. So the April update, yes, well, April come May update, I guess you say maybe. Well, it depends on what goes on really, if I manage to get around to the May one in good time, but there we go. But yeah, I can't believe we're nearly at the end of April already. It's just gone so quickly. I say this every month. It's madness, isn't it really? But there we go. But nearly May, so yeah, we got through Easter, so it's been a pretty eventful month. But before I go into that, I've got to thank the members. So thank you so much to Sam Matson, Anne Lockhart, and of course Scotty. Thank you for so much for all your support, continued support over all these years and months. I say this every month really, you know, but I can't thank you enough. I really do appreciate it, and thank you so much. It's really helpful to the channel, to say at the very least. Thank you so much. Hope you're enjoying the content, and yeah, hope you enjoyed it over Easter as well. As I say, I've done loads of stuff over Easter, basically. Ridiculous amount of stuff, to be honest with you. It's been I managed to review quite a number of eggs, really. I think maybe good. Well, I did 5 or 6 eggs in one of the lives, didn't I? And it's another 3 in another live. So I must have done. And I'm hoping I've published about 20 egg reviews really, but I've got the load in the backlog, so it could be confusing, you know. I might have reviewed some and just not published them. Basically, I managed to last year, I think there was 10 videos I didn't publish last year, roughly 10, and this year there's about another 10 as well. I've saved them all still. Maybe next year I'll get back to publishing some of the older ones, things like, because it still should be relevant, you know. There'll be things that I reviewed this year that'll be out next year, stuff like that. Fingers crossed. But of course I can't really publish them now. There's no point publishing the reviews after the event because people can't buy them really, and obviously the interest has gone, so you know, I'll move on to other things, I think. But yeah, it's the way it goes. It's just I just don't have enough time to do all the reviews, unfortunately, to edit them all and things like this. So it is a difficult one. So I do have to prioritise things like that. And I've been trying to sort of want to start doing like polls and things to see what people would like to do. I think to do it for the bronze members, basically, for a little perk, so they get a bit of extra things as well. So we'll look into that. It's just more time that needs going into that as well, really. So it is a difficult one, you know. Sometimes I just think, right, I just need to get that reviewed or that reviewed and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens anyway. We'll see. One of those things, but maybe it could just be a member thing. I don't know. Well, let me know what you think anyway. Let me know what you think about that. But it'd be an interesting one all the same. But yeah, so Easter's been and gone now. So I think it's Andrew Winter's in one of the lives. You know, Christmas chocolate will be here before we know, won't it, in about 2 or 3 months. So crazy to think about, but it's not too far wrong, to be honest with you. I think it does come in around the end of June or July, what have you. So yeah, it should be an interesting one. But there we go. So yes, I think good Easter though this year. Going back to that, I mean, got basically a lot more views and a lot more subscribers as well. Surging them from all the videos I did. So it was worth doing all those things basically. And if you're new to the channel and came because of all the sort of Easter reviews, welcome, and hope you're enjoying it. And yeah, hope you stick around as well. Yeah, leave a comment. Let me know what brought you to the channel. Basically, it'd be interesting to hear actually. But yeah, so plenty of stuff to do. So there's always new stuff out there. It's not just for Easter. You know, chocolates for life, not just for Easter, as they say. So yeah, so basically got loads of stuff to come. Tons of reviews are stuck in a backlog. You know, and lots of new stuff coming out all the time. So an interesting one really. So I had a bit of a break after Easter, as you would have seen. I only did one review. Well, it's the Sunday the 27th today. As I'm recording this, I only did one review last week. I just needed a bit of a break after all the chocolate reviews and things. I just needed a bit of time because it's been very intense, let's put it that way. So there we go. But as I say, I'm hoping to get back on track now. Is the gist of it. So there we go. Yeah, so it's getting into hotter months now. It's always a challenge really for reviewing chocolate when it's hot, because obviously you've got to store them and you can't handle them as well. Things like this, and of course all the computer and lights on things, it makes it hotter again. So it's going to be a challenge coming up. We'll see how it goes. You know what the UK is like though. It's not always warm, is it, even in the summer? So but we'll see. Just fingers crossed it doesn't get too ridiculous. But the other things, I'm trying to get some look into the technology. I want to get a better webcam basically. You know, I was considering getting all this, like one of these very expensive like DSLRs and stuff like that, but I'd have to change the whole setup for what I'm doing. You know, it'd be pretty crazy really to do all that. You know, I've got so much, you know, it'd take up so much space, and I'd have to move all the monitors and things to do it all, set it all differently. Maybe it's possible, I don't know really. And of course, you know, this, that and the other. And I was thinking, well, you know, it'd still be quite difficult to do my reviews because I want to have the angles on certain things. So I'm thinking probably a webcam is the way to go. But the one I've seen, well, quite expensive. I saw one that was like a 4K 130 frames a second. That's £400 or something like that. But then they've just released a new one, which is 4K at 60 frames a second, and it's about £1,000 or something. So I thought, you know, it's just a ridiculous amount of money. So we'll see what happens anyway, you know. But it's a lot of money, all this stuff, you know. And as I say, I don't make much from this channel at all. I don't make anything from the channel basically because it all goes back into the chocolate. So yeah, so it's one of them really. But we'll see. You never know. I'll try and work out some kind of compromise or something or whatever. I'll keep my eye out for anything that's whether it's worth going for those and things. But I'd like to start doing. I mean, my main problem is it's just my webcam just doesn't focus in on things very well, and it takes such a long time sometimes for it to focus in and things like this, and I don't have much time. And when it's taking, when it adds like an extra minute or two trying to get it to focus in, and it really adds up, to be honest with you. And I know it doesn't sound like much, but honestly, it's a very frustrating experience, and especially when I'm doing lives and things, I want it to zoom in, to focus in rather. It can be quite. It's just a difficult one. So I do want to try and sort that out, but I don't know what the solution is at the moment. But we'll see. I'll keep an eye out anyway. But there we go. Things are never cheap, really. So I just did. Speaking of which, though, I did treat myself to a new laptop. My old one had just basically fallen apart. I needed something really in there. So I'm going to try editing on that as well. So I'm going to. This will probably be the first video I edit on that. So we'll see how it goes. So fingers crossed then. And I thought it might help me edit things a bit better as well if I can do it more sort of on my lap rather than at my desk and things. But of course, when you're at your desk, you kind of do things. Focused a bit more on it. So we'll see how it goes anyway. I'm going to give it a try. Hopefully it will work out, but we'll see basically. So there we go. So that's pretty much the update I think for this month. To be honest with you, quite an interesting one. I'd say it'd be quite interesting to see how the laptop goes, and of course we get a better webcam and things like this. I think I do need one, maybe a new microphone. I don't know, but I don't mind the microphone I've got, to be honest with you. It seems to be okay, but something I don't know. I've had it for a long time. It is a bit of a pain in and of itself because the cable to it is very loose. If I just nudge it, the cable gets disconnected and things like this. So I don't know. It's just one of those really. Just little. I don't need these things, but it just would make things a lot easier, a lot more, stress-free and hassle-free, and just more simple basically. But as I said, they're not necessities, So we'll see. But anyway, alright, so let's move on to the viewer comments. I got a few comments this month, so some good ones here. So I won't go over all the comments I've got because there's quite a lot really, and obviously, it's one of those. But let's see what we do have. So I did my Nostalgics review just this week as well, and Matt House, commented on basically talking about the what he used to get Mojos. He said were 2 for a penny chew sweets in the 80s. Cola cubes, pineapple cubes, pear drops was mentioned, rhubarb and custards were the most old school sweets. Basically, the ones you got in like I think you got like a scoop, weren't you, in the jars and things like this. Usually quite boiled sweets and things. Mouse was saying, hard sweets. It was find it a bit difficult to imagine how they'd be soft ones, like chewy ones in these selections and the Nostalgics. But I never had a shop like that where it had like all these jars of sweets and you'd go with a scoop and you'd ask for a scoop of it. Because Alan mentioned it as well on Lockhart. So the quarter cola cubes is what you always used to get from sweet shops at school. But I never had one like that. It was always, for me, it was just like a mini pick and mix area really, and at least maybe I just never, I don't know, I was quite young at the time, maybe I just didn't get it, see the jars and just got the sweets from behind from the little pick and mix. Maybe they were just cheaper, I don't know, because I only had a few pence and things like this. So so basically these Nostalgics, I think they've gone over my head a bit basically, because I just never had the sugar cubes and pear drops and things. I just never really had them. For me it was always like cola bottles, and like straws and I don't know, just all these like Swizzles, Matlow stuffs and things like this, refreshers, blackjacks, it was those kind of things, the chewy sweets and stuff like that, and like the strawberry laces and things like this. So an interesting one for sure, really, because it's obviously and different takes on pick and mixes and penny sweets and all this, that, and the other, and just what you remember when you're younger. So what do you think, guys? What do you reckon? Did you sort of these Nostalgics? Did they bring out a nostalgic feeling for yourself, or were these something that passed you by a bit like me? It just goes to show, doesn't it? These kind of things. Everyone's got a different opinion on it, haven't they, really? So an interesting one, that one, but very interesting. But good to hear from you, Matt House, and of course Alan as well. Great to hear from you. Sam Matson as well mentioned he heard that Subway will bring out a sub that's Cadbury flavoured in the UK. Did anyone hear of this? I never heard of this. Cadbury egg flavoured sub, for instance. I don't know if it was an April Fool's joke or something like that. I'm not sure that Sam had seen, but I never saw this. But let me know if anyone heard from that. That's an interesting one. Very interesting that. But I never saw that, or if I did, it passed me by basically. So an interesting one, that one. Yes, and the Lola Boom Boom. Yes, I mentioned about the Ferrero Rocher squirrel that I reviewed a few years back. Said thanks for the review. We bought one for Easter 2025. Seemed a bit thin in parts, but it's still 90 grams. So it's still the same weight basically. So that's an interesting one, isn't it? So this goes to show that it hasn't shrunk as part of shrinkflation, they were saying. So great to see you, Lola, by the way. Great to see you. I'm glad you enjoyed the review, and an interesting one, that one. Maybe it's more expensive than it used to be though. That's one thing, isn't it? Maybe, but you never know. An interesting one, that, for sure. And Alan mentioned in my little layered eggs review, yes, Cameron's biscuit and salted caramel one. I asked what people would like to see, sort of like filled in between 2 layers of chocolate for one of these layered eggs. And Alan mentioned Tunnock's tea cake fashioned like the sort of the marshmallow in, or the mallow filling, would be something. And I think that's a great shout, actually, Alan. Really, yeah, it would be really nice that. Yeah, so maybe next year, you never know, because it's especially if M&S get on this bandwagon, maybe next year they'll do one with their whippy dippy shenanigans sort of filled Easter egg. You never know, so that'd be quite good, that, wouldn't it? Yeah, fingers crossed. But let me know, guys, what you would think would be good in one of these layered eggs, where you have like it's basically a sort of, I wouldn't say it's a hollow Easter egg, but basically the layers of chocolate in the Easter egg have a gap in, so you can fill it with something. A bit like insulation, basically. Yeah, Scotty mentions, well, I heard of Vitty's Moments I mentioned in the Stash Watch the other day. Basically, just a rebrand of a Netherlands make. Vacade, I think it's pronounced, or Vacade, not sure. Yeah, so interesting one, that one. So basically, yeah, the moments just seemed completely different than the other Movitty's Moments that they did not long ago, and I have reviewed but I've not published yet. And so it seems strange. I did feel a bit odd because there's nothing like them, and yeah, it just looks like they've just used they've just rebranded them as Moments. So a bit of a funny one. I don't know if they still do the other Moments ones, but yeah, well, thanks for that, Scott. It was an interesting one, that one. Just goes to show you, doesn't it? They can be quite lazy, these companies, sometimes, but it does make sense to just call them all the same. Makes the branding a bit easier, a bit more recognisable. But it's just one of a completely different biscuit, different layout and everything. It's very strange, that one. Yeah, an interesting one. Well, thanks, Scotty, for that. Well noticed. Yes, and Kamal also on the layered Easter eggs from Lidl that I reviewed. Yeah, the Camel's biscuit and salted caramel ones. He said he's very tempted to buy the Camel's biscuit one, but saw someone say it wasn't as filled very well. But looking at the one I reviewed, he may have twisted his arm. So what do you reckon? And Kamal, did you get it? Yeah, let me know. What did you think of it? And was it filled as much as mine was? Let me know. Interesting one. Well, the layered Easter egg seems to have to be the thing, doesn't it? And yeah, I can see these getting more and more popular next year. I definitely reckon M&S will have one next year, and I can imagine it being filled with that sort of dippy whippy filling. So we'll see. But interesting one. They're really, really impressed with those eggs. It just goes to show, that there's new ideas coming out, and they were really good, those, especially those ones from Layers Eggs themselves. That's a independent company. Great stuff, those. Yes, Andrea AJ, yes, on my Hotel Chocolo, you cracked me up extra thick Easter egg review from about a year or two ago. Yes, said thank you for the review. They bought 2 as a gift. I opened the delivery box to get them out, but was quite disappointed because I paid £30 each for the size of them. Yeah, they were definitely just a bit disappointing, these £30 ones. But it said they couldn't see inside of them, so weren't sure what they were like, but my video was helpful. So yeah, so they felt they should have got the Thornton's Easter eggs, actually, Andrea said. And it's one of those where, gift chocolate is a difficult one. I feel like gift chocolate is never quite as good as the cost implies it would, or the looks are. But it's all about the fact that it's just something that people generally wouldn't buy for themselves. So I don't think you did the wrong thing, Trey. I think it's a nice thing to get someone. I think they would have really appreciated it, and probably wouldn't have wanted to spend that much money on themselves. And I think, but you probably could get better things. And I definitely think those Layers eggs from the independent company were probably the ones I would always recommend from now on in, at least. I mean, it's so nice and so indulgent and value for money. But as I say, you can't, really with these kind of things, chocolate selections and Easter eggs, things like that, if you get one of these sort of special, expensive ones from Hotel Chocolo or something like that, they almost always make a good gift. And I think that's basically what you're paying for, really. Sometimes the contents aren't as good as the price or the looks or the branding implies. But what do you think, guys? What do you reckon to sort of, gifted eggs and gifted chocolates, things like that? Do you reckon it's basically just the fact that just the prestige or the branding or whatever just makes you spend more for really not really much other than the names and the branding? So let me know what you think about that. I think that's generally the case, but let me know what you think. Yes, last one for today, Ava Cameron. Yeah, welcome back, Ava. So you've been away for some time. Come back a bit. So good to see you back on the channel. Yeah, so when comparing the Milky Bar Cadbury White and Cadbury Milky Bar chocolate, I found it tricky to find a difference. Ava said that Cadbury just seems to have a smell of vanilla to it. I always found that the Nestle Milky Bar chocolate was always a lot better than Cadbury White chocolate. I don't know if they've changed it recently. Maybe they have, but I always found that the Cadbury White had a bit of a chemical-y taste, was never that nice. But maybe it's better nowadays. So yeah, let me know what you think, guys, as well. If you think Cadbury White chocolate's actually a lot better. Maybe Nestle Milky Bar just isn't as good anymore. I mean, it used to be really nice. I know they've changed the recipe. Andrew Winton was saying quite a lot, and maybe that's the problem. So yeah, interesting one, that. But let me know, guys, what you reckon. Maybe I'll do a comparison again. I think I've got them to do a compare with. Sure, I had them to review, so we'll see about that. Maybe I'll look into doing that. So yeah, let me know your thoughts, guys. Interesting one, that one. All right, well, that brings us to the end of the viewer comments. Yeah, great to see everyone this month. As I say, thank you so much for all your support during Easter months and watching the videos and all the likes and this, that, and the other that you've done. Massively appreciated, really is. Thank you so much. Yeah, as I say, it's really nice to hear from you all in the comments. So yeah, please do keep leaving them, and obviously all the likes, things like this, all the YouTube nonsense. You know what it's like. But I do really like hearing from you in the comments, and I like replying. I always do my best to reply as soon as I can. And apologies if I miss any of them. In the past, it was quite difficult because YouTube didn't give me an easy or any way really actually to see replies that I might have missed and this sort of thing. But they've just added a new feature now where I can filter on them in the comments, so I shouldn't miss any from this day forward. Basically, fingers crossed. So apologies for that in the past. So, you know, it was never really ignoring anyone. It's just sometimes I just never got the notifications or saw them. It's just but YouTube's a lot better now, so we'll see. But yeah, well, thanks so much again, as I say, guys. It's been great to get to see you over Easter. I'm glad you enjoyed all the videos and all the reviews. And yeah, leave a comments, as I say, and let me know what you think and what you'd like to see next year for Easter. And I'll see you. I'll see you in May. Take care, guys. Bye for now. See ya.